Okay guys, here we are yet again getting ready to have another hurricane make landfall in Louisiana. No, we're not excited, not looking forward to it. This is Delta that's supposed to make landfall tomorrow. We're already getting a lot of rain from the outer bands. It is, I think, a category 3 right now. It may be a 2 or 3 when it makes landfall. We'll just have to wait and see. I guess it's going to be about a 1 when the eye comes straight through Alexandria, which is what they're expecting on this. So we're definitely not looking forward to it. So I'm going to try to video this hurricane so you can see what it looks like. And hopefully everyone makes it safely through the hurricane without too much damage. But this is a little of the rain that we're experiencing now. This is the beginning of Delta, the day before it's expected to make landfall. And we're in Central Louisiana, and the eye is supposed to come right over us here in Central Louisiana. Sometime late tomorrow, early Saturday morning. I hate the middle of the night storms because you cannot see what's going on outside. I choose to have no hurricanes and no storms, but if I have to have them, I'd rather have them during the day. But unfortunately, it is supposed to be night, the middle of the night, when the hurricane comes through Central Louisiana. Something to look forward to. Yay! So stay tuned, and we'll be back on with coverage from the hurricane as it comes through. Okay, it is now Friday, October 9th at about 9:30 a.m. and that's October 9th, 2020. This is a little bit of the calm before it gets bad. Conditions are going to deteriorate throughout the day. Hurricane Delta has not made landfall yet in South Louisiana. So the winds and the rain and the weather will be here in Central Louisiana a little later today. This is just nothing compared to the wind that we will be getting later. This is hurricane winds, but like outer bands of the winds. The eye hasn't gotten close to us. The eye hasn't even made landfall yet. It's expected to make landfall in South Louisiana, Southeast Louisiana later today. So I will keep you posted and bring you more video. Oh, I almost forgot to show you hurricane prep. We've got gas for the generator. We've moved all our furniture off the patio onto the porch. It's just kind of sitting there, keeps it a little bit safer. Our patio's empty. May have to tie that trampoline down a little later. All the things you have to do to prep for a hurricane, and then all the cleanup you have after the hurricane. It's such a mess. Okay, it is now about 12:45 on Friday, October 9th, 2020. Hurricane Delta still has not made landfall in South Louisiana. I'm just bringing you the updates as promised. What we're going through now here in Central Louisiana is just steady rain. Winds may have picked up a little bit since I videoed earlier, but not nearly what we're going to get later. So this is your look at what's going on now. Just some wind, some breezy wind, steady rain. The problem with Delta is all of our trees have weakened, and some still have large branches just hanging from Hurricane Laura. I don't know if you can see that one over there. That's the issue with Hurricane Delta hitting Louisiana again. Lots of weakened trees, lots of large branches still just barely hanging on in the trees. And with all the rain, it makes it easier for trees to fall because of the ground being saturated. Okay guys, it's now about 5:15 p.m. on Friday, October 9th, 2020. And Hurricane Delta is getting close to making landfall in Southeast Louisiana. And we are in Central Louisiana. The wind has obviously picked up. We're starting to feel some effects from Hurricane Delta, and it's only going to get worse. This is the wind now at about 5:15. It's picked up a lot since my last update. You get some gusts in there occasionally that are pretty strong. Steady rain. You can see the puddles accumulating in the yard. I'm sure there's some broken limbs that are going to be falling. Sounds like a big gust. We'll go out front and look. Here's a little different view of the wind and the rain. We have some broken limbs up there. I'll be very surprised if they don't come down in Hurricane Delta. This is 35 minutes after I just gave you my last update. It was 5:15 at my last update, and it is now 5:50 p.m. The winds have picked up a lot, and it's only going to get worse. It's rained so much, the pool is overflowing and the water is coming out the skimmer. And the top of this tree right here, it is just barely hanging on. It cracked and broke in Hurricane Laura, and it's just barely hanging there. It's another one I'll be surprised if it doesn't fall. Ooh, the rain is blowing. Can't even stand under a porch without getting wet. It's loud. Stuff is just flying. I'm getting soaking wet. And I'm under a porch. Leave it to Louisiana to make history, because Hurricane Delta is the first Greek storm to ever make landfall. There has never been a Greek storm to make landfall in the United States before Hurricane Delta. So Louisiana does it again. It is now about 6:35 p.m. on Friday, Delta did make landfall near Creole, Louisiana. That's in South Louisiana at around 6 p.m. this evening. It is starting to ramp up here and get worse. It's also starting to get dark, which I don't like. So we're just going to hunker down and pray for the best. Louisiana strong. You can see the rain blowing now. Really starting to ramp up. I'm trying to look to see if I still see those parts of trees hanging on. They are. They're still hanging on. If you're outside, there is no way to stay dry with this blowing rain. Around 9 p.m. on October 9th, 2020. The worst of Delta is reaching us now. They said our worst here in Central Louisiana would be between 9 p.m. and midnight tonight. So it should be approaching us. And right now, it's doing a lot of raining. It's been doing a lot of raining. The rain's still blowing. It's still very windy. I wouldn't say that it's any windier than it was earlier. Maybe some gusts or stronger than they were earlier. The ditches are starting to get full of rainwater. There are some homes around Central Louisiana that they do have water getting into the homes. Streets are flooding. Luckily, our street is pretty good. Fingers crossed about not flooding, but the ditches are getting full of water. So let's take a look at it. Wind's kicking, rain's blowing, full ditches over here. Ditches over there. It's a pretty strong gust. I think it has been downgraded to a tropical storm. I think our wind gusts are around 70 miles per hour. That's what they're clocking them at. I think 75 is a category 1. I think it's what they were just saying on the news. I'm not 100% sure on that. But if we're at 70 and 75 is a category 1 hurricane, we're still the high end of a tropical storm. Well, you can just see that rain blowing down the street. All right, we'll be back for another update a little later. About 10:45 p.m. Ooh, that rain is cold. On Friday, October 9th, 2020. Still windy, still rainy. Wind doesn't seem too bad, but I imagine there's some strong gusts in there. So let's take a look at it. lot of blowing rain. You absolutely cannot stand out here under a covered porch and stay dry. You're going to get wet. The rain is just blowing. Can't really tell, but it looks like, man, that tree up there, that broken piece is still hanging on. We still have electricity, thank goodness. We haven't lost it yet. Not everybody has been as lucky as we are. I'm going to go see if the radar shows about where we are in this storm. Oh, that's a good gust. And it's cold when you're wet from the rain. Not complaining though, because it could be 110 degrees. This is a current radar picture. Here we are, right here around Alexandria.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I've not seen this amount of.
That's about the area that we are in.
Electricity in what is a very wet and seeing some flooding as well right now. So the rain is coming down even.
I stand corrected from earlier. They did just confirm that it's still a Category 1 with wind speeds up to 75 miles per hour. It's now about 12:45 a.m., so it is Saturday, October 10th. There is still some strong gusts of wind. It's still raining. Street light just went out, so it just got dark on us. Sorry about that. You can't see me anymore. But it is still raining. There's still some strong gusts of wind. But hopefully the worst is getting past us here in Central Louisiana. Still lots of water in the ditches. Rain has slowed down some. street light just came back on. There's a lot of flooding on the streets in Alexandria. Overall, here at our house in Central Louisiana, Laura was much worse than Delta. But I'm sure Delta has been worse than Laura for some others, especially from what I understand, possibly to the east of us. Delta was worse. But for us, at our home, Laura was much worse. And Laura was only about 6 weeks ago. So the people down south in South Louisiana who were hit so hard by Hurricane Laura, they have not even been able to repair their roofs yet. They had tarps on their roofs, and then here along comes Hurricane Delta. They didn't even get a chance to finish their cleanup from Laura. Hopefully, Louisiana doesn't have any more hurricanes this year or for several years. I mean, I'd be totally fine with ever. We don't need any more hurricanes. But we are a coastal state, and that's what happens. It is now about 3:05 a.m. Saturday, October 10th, 2020. I'm sorry, I'm lacking sleep. I cannot sleep through the storms, and so I have not been to sleep at all. It does seem like it is finally starting to calm down a little bit here. Hopefully it will continue to taper off. It's still raining. Flooding is still an issue here in Central Louisiana and Alexandria. Our ditches have gone down a lot, and they usually do. We don't have a real big problem with flooding around our immediate house. Just other places in Alexandria does. So let's take a look and see what it's looking like now. Still a little windy, but not nearly like it was. You can see the ditches have gone down from earlier. I mean, there's still water in them, but they've gone down. They're not level with the yard. It's gone down over here too. Rain, 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 and a little wind. It is now officially Tropical Storm Delta. It has been downgraded. The eye is passing right to the east of Alexandria, which is where we're located. Occasional big gust or larger gusts, not as large as they were earlier, but we do still get the occasional good size gust. This may be my last update until well, it is the morning, but until daylight, because as soon as this calms down a little bit more, I am going to try to get some sleep. So this might be my last update until daylight. But it's been fun. In the morning, we'll see if there's any large limbs down. a lot of any damage. See what the yard looks like once we get some light and we can see. Okay, I'm back. It is now Saturday morning. We have some daylight. It's October 10th, 2020. We are looking at the aftermath of Delta. I see some limbs down over there, nothing real big. That part of the tree that had broke during Hurricane Laura is still hanging on up there. Surprised. And so is that limb. Still hanging. Delta did not take them down. Pool is a little nasty, but not as bad as it was after Laura. It's got some leaves and stuff in it. But we're fixed to get ready to winterize the pool anyway. Some limbs down over there. Again, not nearly as bad as after Laura as far as the limbs down, trees down here at our house. Delta brought more rain than Laura did, so a lot of people had a lot of flooding issues, water getting into their homes. In that sense, Delta was worse than Laura as far as the rain. But okay, that's it for Hurricane Delta. Thank you for watching. And we'll see you on our next video.